Happy birthday, Rachel! Happy birthday, Mom!
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor Life. Learn more at sagicor.com.
Everybody, let's welcome Sarah to the team. Here's the company handbook.
Thank you. Welcome, Sarah.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor Life. Learn more at sagicor.com.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. No matter what your financial position is, one life event can destroy that. That is why you need insurance, because insurance is that safety net. And that is why we are doing this series right now for you. Sagicor Life presents our insurance series live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be your host for the evening, Otis O. Hamilton the first, yes. And I have two amazing guests who will ensure that they give you all the information you need. So we have Sheldon, who is filling in for Bridget Rodney today. Sheldon is the new business manager, which means that all insurance policies pass through his hands. And of course, we have the lovely, lovely Tiffany Lawson, who has been a top agent, and she has only been here 4.5 years. But she has been amazing ever since. So they'll be helping us to go through that web of why we sell insurance or why we buy insurance. So, Sheldon, let me get that deeper understanding first as to what is life insurance.
So life insurance, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me again. So life insurance pretty much is an agreement, a binding legal agreement between an insurance company and a policy owner. So in event of death or someone being diagnosed, then the life insurance company will make a payout, whether to the named beneficiary or to the insured in the case of a illness, for example. And so this is done in return for premiums that are paid by the policy owner.
All right, later on I'm going to ask you a very technical one, but I want you to think about it. I'll soon throw it at you.
Okay.
But Tiffany, who needs life insurance?
Everyone. I can't think of anybody that does not need some sort of life insurance.
Okay, great. But let me zone in now. Who are the persons you believe are at the highest risk and most need life insurance?
People who are breadwinners, people who have dependents that, should something happen to them, they wouldn't be able to pay their way in life. Parents, people who have a family history of a critical illness because, should they be diagnosed with a critical illness, they need that payout to assist with the cost of that illness.
Before you go much further, though, Tiffany, of course, I sell insurance. I have sold insurance. And there's always a big question. What's the difference between critical illness insurance and health insurance? People are a little fuzzy because a critical illness is a health-related issue. So I'd love for both of you to just give me your appreciation. Of course, on the technical side, Sheldon.
So critical illness looks at living benefits. So if you're diagnosed with, for example, cancer, heart attack, stroke, paralysis, these payments are made based on the diagnosis that is made. So pretty much the health insurance now covers you in terms of more hospitalization, you go in for a doctor's visit. So there are some basic things that they would differentiate both plans. And so it is a little bit different. It's just a matter that they both look at the health of the individual in terms of how they are administered.
Well, Tiffany, from your end, how do you decide that, all right, you need a critical illness plan versus you who need a health plan? Or is it that everybody need both? Or you work that out?
I would say everybody needs both because when you look at health insurance, for example, we all should be going to the dentist at least twice a year. We should be doing our annual checkups.
You can't just set up so strong, Tiffany. Some of us are
You
not,
wear glasses, so you understand, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things that we need, any inpatient or outpatient procedures that you need health insurance for. We all should be going and doing our checkups, Women should be doing their pap smears and everything on an annual basis. So all those things you need health insurance to assist with that. Critical illness insurance, on the other hand, in today's day and age, I feel like so many younger people are being diagnosed with critical illnesses. You find that before, when you associated cancer and stroke with people over a certain age, like say over 50, that's no longer the case. You have women in their 30s being diagnosed with cancer.
Even lower. I have
a client
even younger than that. A doctor client, even younger than that.
See? So that's why I said that I feel like everybody needs it because In my opinion, it's better you have the insurance and you don't have to use it versus not having the insurance and trying to figure out how you're going to pay your medical bills and how you're going to provide income during the recovery process.
So just to say as well that they supplement each other. So I
Yeah.
think, as Tiffany has pointed out, it's good to have both.
Yeah, you really need both to create that
That's
package.
correct. Yeah.
All right. So let's step out of the realm of the living benefit, as you mentioned. What are the other types of insurance, personal life insurance that you cover?
Okay, so we have term insurance, we have whole life insurance.
Hold on, you're gone far. What is term? What that mean?
So
Term
it's
versus
more,
whole life, what's that?
as it suggests, it's for a particular period, it's for a term in terms of when you apply. So you have a 5 years, you have a 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 year, right up to 30-year term period.
Yeah.
So you're covered for a particular period, and then the benefit of it is that you get a convertible option at the end of that period, so you can convert it without any evidence of insurability. So that's what makes it so important and so good, and it's more cheaply priced than the normal insurance as well.
I like the word cheap, but Tiffany, no. Because, of course, as you realize, Sheldon is very technical, you know? Why would you advise a person to choose term insurance versus whole life insurance?
I think it depends. It depends on what they want it for. So, for example, if a client already has enough insurance in their portfolio for things like final expenses and taxes after death and what have you, then and they're taking out a mortgage, for example, so they have a set time frame that they need that insurance for, say a 25-year mortgage, then I would give them a term plan specifically assigned to that mortgage.
Okay, and of course, as you mentioned, as Sheldon mentioned, it is priced a little lower because, but what are the benefits, the upsells to a whole life though? What are the added benefits you get from a whole life plan?
Well, you rarely get an investment option with the plan when you do whole life, so you get that opportunity to invest, and it's permanent. So you get, even after you'd have finished paying for that mortgage, you still have that coverage, and you have an investment component as well for that plan. So
Great.
that is the key selling point for the whole life in that regard.
I think too many people don't understand that concept, that with your whole life insurance plan, it's actually growing value.
There you go.
Right? So it's an asset, you know.
Yes.
Adds to your net worth.
It adds to your network, all right? But go a little deeper than that for me, though. How much life insurance does that person need, you think, Tiffany?
It depends on the individual and that person's need as well as their financial portfolio. So when you look at someone who has a larger estate, they're going to need significantly more insurance than somebody just starting out.
But hold on, I'm sorry to cut
Okay.
you, Tiffany. And by the way, if you want to ask a question and you're on the live, definitely put it in there, put it in the chat, and we'll try to get your question. But Tiffany just said something that don't make sense to a lot of people. If you have more estate, means say you're richer. You need more insurance.
more
Tell me
insurance.
the logic now.
Because estate taxes are a thing. The larger your estate is, the more estate taxes you're probably going to end up paying out. Well, your beneficiaries
Beneficiaries,
will end up paying out.
Something that a lot of people don't recognize, as you mentioned. You can have this amazing estate and want to hand it down to your kids. And when you pass, your kids can't own it, forget it. So the government basically take it over time because of the taxes and all of that pile up on it. So really, you need to have that cash flow there to ensure you can do that. So thank you very much for that. As I mentioned, just reminding you, I'm seeing some questions coming in, but please give me your questions on the live, Instagram live, Facebook live, and I'll try to throw them in. If you're on YouTube live as well, definitely do so. So let me go a little further. How much life insurance, how does the individual choose the right insurance policy? You mentioned the issue of the term versus the whole life. But outside of that scenario, how do you choose one policy versus the next? Because you have different policies for life, critical illness, all of that. How do you choose which one makes the best sense for you?
Well, I would say your advisor is supposed to guide you accordingly.
Okay.
After doing proper fact finding and trying to figure out what it is that you actually require in your portfolio. Something that I do personally with potential clients and clients the same is I look at what you need, but I also look at your budget. Because I can say that somebody needs X amounts of insurance, but then it can't fit in their budget. So I have to figure out, and I feel like there are ways that you can incorporate all the different types of insurance that you need within that budget. And I think a lot of people don't know that.
It sounds a little utopic. I don't know. Sheldon, when you assess, because of course Sheldon's department has to assess the whole person when they're actually deciding whether or not to accept an insurance policy. What are some of the gray areas that you might find from a financial basis or whatever to say that, all right, this person cannot qualify for this plan for one reason or the other?
So based on the income, you can get coverage up to a certain multiple of your income when we're doing assessment. You look at the person's health. You look at the person's family history. You look at various factors that would impact a decision that is made in the department to say we can onboard this client. So
Sheldon,
as Tiffany
pointed,
pointed,
you know, because you're not giving me enough. I want you to tell me the part that you don't want to say. What makes it more likely for you to not get it? I don't want you to just think about. So, for instance, if I'm old, I won't get a life insurance. That's what you say?
well, we do cater for persons who are old as well, but it may just limit the amount of insurance that you can get based on your age. It also looks at the health of the person. So if you are healthy, then we would have to look at a plan that would be okay for you as it relates to your state of health, as it relates to also your income, as Tiffany pointed out. It looks at pretty much multiple of factors to really say this person has qualified based on health, family history, the income of the person, and the need that exists. That has to also be justified. And persons can get any amount of coverage, but they just have to be able to justify the reason why they're applying for so much and also be able to afford to pay for that coverage that they're applying for.
Okay, and I want to segue just a little bit. I see one of the questions. I want to segue a little bit. How do you determine that fit when you're dealing with, for instance, some skilled persons? You're talking about persons who might be working in industries that they don't get the normal salary, monthly salary pay. How do you then, navigate to say, does this person deserve this amount? A footballer, a musician, how do you guess what they might possibly need?
Well, we look at occupation. Well, we do look at occupation when we're doing insurance as well. So somebody who's in a more hazardous industry, they may get what you call an occupational rating.
Okay.
And so with that, the insurance has to be priced accordingly because we have to price for the risk that this person could be injured on the job or more likely to die, God forbid, on the job. So we have to price the risk accordingly. And so that is why they may get an occupational rating, for example, based on the industry that a person operates within.
All right, great. I'm going to jump to one of my questions. It's from Leslie Ann McDowell. Is it possible to add your family to your critical illness? And of course, if yes, what is the process? Sheldon, you know of anything like that?
So we don't, they're dependent on if you're doing from a group side. We have group insurance where the person can apply for group coverage and they could maybe add their immediate family, meaning their son, their daughter. And some group plans allow for them to add like their grandparents, but not to the critical illness. They can get coverage, but not necessarily the critical illness aspect of it. And so I know for the critical illness, you pretty much would not be able to add children unless they're taking out individual insurance, which, for example, our child protector plan that covers critical illness for children.
And I think the parent has to have a plan as well.
The parent would need a plan as well in that regard. So pretty much we have plans that would cater for it, but they can't add persons to their critical illness plan, so to speak. But we can cater for children, especially with our child protector plan.
Well, as a lady who has been out there helping persons to apply for quite a bit of life insurance, what is the process like? Just walk me through the process. A glimpse you, I meet you on the road and ask you, Tiffany, what do? You tell me you're a life insurance advisor. What happens after I tell you, say, no, sir, I'm interested? Walk me through.
Well, the first thing that we have to do is have a sit down and discuss what your actual needs are. And I do my fact finding and make my recommendations to you as the client. From there, we fill out the application form. We pay the premium, depending on what the type of plan, if you have to do a medical, and then it is submitted.
So I need any JP signature and lawyer to sit with me. I need no auditor. What else I need?
You only need an auditor if it's business insurance.
Okay.
But outside of that, no, as long as you have a proof of address and government-issued ID and TRN.
We can get started. I know we've been chanting an online platform. I'd love for you to tell me how that process works if you know it, or should Sheldon help me a little bit more? How does the online platform work?
All right, so let
me just, so what our host is referring to is our eLife platform, which is our online suite of products that we offer. So persons are able to apply for non-medical products online. So pretty much they go online, they apply, they upload the KYC requirements, which would be the proof of address, the ID, the TRN, all of those requirements which are listed on the website. Once they submit that online, it is then routed to our in-house processing, and we review, and then the policy is issued. They get their contracts via our e-contract platform, which is an online platform as well, where they access via the client web portal. And so they are able to view their contracts online and to transact business via the client web as well.
You hear how technical that is? That is why I work on the other side. If it works, it works. If it works, it works. Go on eLife and you can navigate your way there.
Right, for the non-medical plans,
all right.
Correct.
I'd like to speak quickly about one of the plans that we talk about, Sagicor. The information out there, we've heard of a couple persons who have bought Sagicor and they haven't been happy about the results. Tell me from your perspective, Tiffany, what would have caused something like that?
I think it's just misunderstanding the plan, whether that be not fully reading the product information that should be provided to you by your advisor, as well as just not understanding what the information relayed to you by the advisor.
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't understand that it is, how do I put this? When I saw people complain about it on social media, it was more from the standpoint that they thought it was an investment plan, I guess similar to buying stock, which is not what it is. It's a life insurance plan that is equity linked, meaning it has an investment component. A lot of people don't understand that it's not something you keep for 3 months. It's a 10-year plan.
It's a long term.
Medium to long-term plan,
Yeah.
right? It's a 10-year plan. It's not something that you buy for 3 months and you're like, oh, let me get back my money. There is a penalty associated with you surrendering the plan prior to the 10-year mark. And I think a lot of people also don't realize that there are different funds that you can have the money allocated in, and you can change that fund allocation up to 3 times for the year.
Wow.
And well, just to add to that too, I think part of it too, persons maybe misunderstood the fact that when they come in to do an encashment or to pull values from the policy, there is also a penalty for that. And I believe that was part of the misunderstanding that took place with the Sagicor plan as well.
Okay, but still an excellent plan.
Excellent plan.
Excellent plan.
All right, we have 2 questions. I'd love if we could bounce because we have to go to a break. We have Deja Miller. Can life insurance be used as collateral to purchase a home? I think I want to grab that one.
Okay.
It can be used as collateral. The home is the actual collateral, right? But it can be used as something else.
You can assign the life insurance coverage to the mortgage as creditor life insurance. So pretty much the institution that you're borrowing from becomes the beneficiary of the plan. So that should something happen to you before you've paid off the mortgage, the bank gets their money and your beneficiaries can
Exactly.
The remainder.
So
and
it
keep the
indemnifies,
property.
it indemnifies you. It indemnifies you.
That's
So
correct.
worst case scenario, if you take out your mortgage and then the worst thing happened to you, then your family don't have to move out. The life insurance policy will pay
Right.
for that plan. So at this time, we're going to be taking a quick break. We'll be right back. But more information in a couple minutes. In 1 minute.
Hi, morning. 487, please.
487 lucky numbers.
Hi. Hi, your change is 487.
And the winning numbers are 487.
In 2022, Jamaica recorded 488 road fatalities, one more than the previous record in 2021. Let's be street smart and drive safely. It is to your advantage.
Welcome back. And of course, you see a new face with us. Natalie, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Natalie is one of the stars at Advantage General Insurance Company. And We just watched an advert that it touched your soul.
Yes,
It touched your soul, but it's very real. It speaks about what is happening on our roads. It speaks about the tragedies that are happening. Just coming to the studio today, I saw an accident. It is that bad. So we want to touch a little bit on road safety and why is it that we need to do a little better. So your thoughts, Natalie?
Okay, so what exactly, Otis, is road safety? Road safety refers to the knowledge, understanding, and consciousness in regards to road issues.
And definitely it's Road Safety Month too.
It is.
So,
it is
we need the knowledge now.
Yes,
It's
June indeed. It's
Yes.
the best month, I
Of
must
course.
add.
No comments.
So it involves promoting understanding of risks and dangers associated with road travel, and also encourages responsible behaviors to prevent accident, injuries, and fatalities on our roads.
From your experience and some of the information that you might have been at AGIC, Advantage General,
Right.
What are some of the main causes, the leading causes of accidents on the road?
Okay, so the first one, Otis, speeding.
Okay.
Speeding kills, right? And as such, I implore drivers to maintain the respective speed limits on our roadways, and also driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, right?
Wow.
This
Everyone.
is also a cause, because what happens here, Otis, is that if you consume alcohol, it impairs your vision, your
And your
judgment,
too,
right? It also leads to
I've seen
Delete.
it's not just impairment, I've seen people who believe that they turn Superman and Superwoman. They can do certain things that they never used to try
That's true.
when they were very sober, but all of a sudden now, them under some liquor, them can make the car fly.
Yeah, definitely,
So-
because your reaction time is
And then you have a lot of my friends who tell us that the car know the way home. So they just need to sit down and go there. But I don't want to bounce on another issue. How does driver education and awareness impact road safety?
okay. So driver education is critical as it regards to road safety. Having a knowledge of the traffic laws, regulations, understanding driving techniques, and also developing a responsibility with regards to the correct behavior attitudes,
Yeah.
it can definitely impact road safety. So you have to have an understanding of the road code. So separate and apart from the fact that driver education is not just obtaining a driver's license,
Yeah.
right? So it's really continuous learning,
Yes.
understanding that proper vehicle control, defensive mechanism also assist with driving safely on the
And
roads.
what I think a lot of us don't think about is the vehicle itself being properly operational.
Right.
So having your tires checked, having your brakes checked, you can be the best driver in the world, but one bad tire, and I'm maybe speaking for myself, one bad brake shoe can send you off the side of the road.
Indeed.
So as such, it makes sense for you to ensure you check your car.
Right.
Before I go a little bit deeper into what exactly you do at work every day,
Okay.
just like to bounce it at you. What measures can be taken to improve the safety and vulnerability and vulnerable road users, such as cyclists, for the vulnerable road cyclists and pedestrians? Because of course we've had so many stories, and even with our ad, you see a story there with a cyclist that was hit.
Right.
What can we do for those vulnerable road users, children as well, that could help, to cut down some of those atrocities?
Okay. So firstly, we can think about infrastructure improvements.
Deep.
Right? So enhancing infrastructure, we're speaking about creating pathways for cyclists separate from motorized public, and also separate walkways, safe crossing, implementing traffic calm measures such as speed bumps to cut speed limits. And also, we could look at education campaigns,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
So we would implore persons to conduct targeted education forums to focus on the specific needs
Yes.
of the vulnerables, and also the importance of campaigns that will emphasize that the safety of the vulnerables, which includes pedestrians and cyclists, is also important.
All right, before I allow you to get away from it, what it is that you do at AGIC? What is it? What type of policies do you sell? And how does that work?
Okay. So as you had mentioned previously, I'm a general insurance advisor.
Yes.
Right. My role entails risk assessment, fully sales. So if you so need an insurance, general insurance, so I do every type of insurance separate and apart from life, which Sheldon would have expressed earlier.
Yeah.
So if you need car insurance, property insurance, commercial business insurance, Natalie Anderson is the way to go.
Of course. I heard that plug. Google me.
Google me, that's right.
So before I let you go, there's a topical issue in the media right now. We have all seen the pictures of what seemed to be an electric car that was on fire or seemed to have caught a fire while being charged. And it caused not just a car to be burnt up, but the whole house. And it is something that, of course, is still under investigation, so we won't go too deep. But Natalie, we'll have to have you back because you need to tell us how exactly Advantage General deals with situations like that and how you come in to ensure that that family gets back to where they're supposed to be.
Definitely.
But for now, let me thank you so much, Natalie.
Thanks for
and
having
see
me.
you in our next episode because we need some information. Thank you.
Hi, morning. 487, please.
487, lucky numbers.
Hi, your change is 487.
And the winning numbers are 487.
In 2022, Jamaica recorded 488 road fatalities, one more than the previous record in 2021. Let's be street smart and drive safely. It is to your advantage.
Happy birthday, Rachel! Happy birthday, Mom!
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor Life. Learn more at sagicor.com.
Everybody, let's welcome Sarah to the team. Here's the company handbook.
Thank you. Welcome, Sarah.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor Life. Learn more at sagicor.com.
So welcome back. And of course, we are back with our life insurance superstars, Tiffany, who represents you, the customers, the clients, and of course, Sheldon, who ensure that Sagicor can open the doors every day. So, so the right policies are sold and settled. So welcome back. All right. In this segment, we're going to go a little bit more personal and intimate in respect to just how our products and services actually help the customers and clients out there. So, Tiffany, you mentioned earlier when we were talking of air that you have seen some changes that you've made in person's life based on insurance that you've sold. Mm-hmm. Can you give me an instant that might pop in your head, whether it is a tragedy or whether it is just financial planning that might have changed a life?
Okay, sure. One of my first clients was a married couple. And this was before they now have a baby. This was even before they got married.
Yeah.
They both became my clients. And last year, I helped them to purchase their first home.
Sweet.
Just by making sure they had all their insurance in place to get the mortgage. I made sure to assist them with a mortgage officer at Sagicor. I helped them to save the money, budget and save the money for the deposit for the house. They did not think initially that it would have been possible to purchase a home within 3 years.
Wow. And you made it possible.
Oh,
God, I wish I'd have an audience for class. Big up, Tiffy, on that. Sheldon, from your end administratively, of course we cannot mention names, but you must have heard of some policies that you guys would have settled and a tragedy might have happened. And luckily, the work was done. So can you speak to?
Right. So pretty much part of my job, I love my job because it helps me to deliver on promises to our clients.
Yes.
And so for every policy that is settled or approved in the department, it is a joy for me because I know that's another family who is now able to benefit if the person who is insured should pass away. At least they would have some amount of money to continue with their life. And so we do experience those instances where persons would have been covered and they would pass away. And so sometimes you pass the claims area and you see persons crying. But yes, they're crying that they would have lost their loved one, but at least there's some comfort to know that there's funds available for them to bury their loved one and to continue with their lives, as tragic as it may be. So that for me, it gives a sense of a gratifying feeling to know that as a company, we are delivering on our promises to our clients, and we also help to meet the needs of our clients in that regard.
Definitely. I'm going to come back to you, Tiffany, with one, but just have to remind you, you are able to ask us questions directly on our Instagram platform and our Facebook, and I think YouTube too. You can just put the questions in there in the comments, and we will ensure we put it to our professionals. All right? No, the other day I was at Relay for Life. I was one of the MCs, and I saw quite a bit of friends, clients too, who I would have helped and got their payout and stuff. And it felt so good to know that I would have helped these persons to live a better life after a tragedy.
Yeah.
How does that process work? Tiffany, if you have some appreciation of it, how does that process work? And what is normally what's the conversation normally like, or from your experience?
So I still remember my first critical illness claim in detail. I remember where I was when I got the phone call from the client. I remember everything about it. A client of mine, pretty young, was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's crazy because, you know, as advisors, of course, we tell clients that you need this, should this happen. But when it really happens, it's like, wow.
Still shock you.
It's like, oh, wow. And I can safely say, you know, one thing that impressed me with the company was how seamless the process was for myself and for that client. Everything was done smoothly. Everything was done in a timely manner. To this day, that client still thanks me. They're fully recovered.
Of course.
But trust me, like literally seeing how you are able to assist someone financially, like take off some of that financial burden, because the last thing you want to do when you're sick is think about how you're going to pay the bills.
Yes.
You know?
I know I have one client who, she makes sure to tell me, Otis, I'm a young lady, so I have to look sexy. So I have to get back my surgery, I have to do back my everything. When I'm finished, I have to go there sexy. So sort me out. But from your end, what is the process like from a more internal perspective?
Pretty much when the claim comes in, it has to be sent down to our claims department. So we have to ensure that all the necessary documentations are in. Once the documentations are in, depending on the type of plan, we have some...
What type of documentations off the top of your head?
I know you're not going to catch all of them.
You're a new business, and it's not a new business, but still.
Yeah, pretty much you have of course, the contract has to be in place. We have to get the claimant statement. We have to get, in terms of maybe an APR from the doctor as well to say, what is it, the cause of death? Attending physician report. As it relates to the cause of death, we have to get that as well to substantiate why is it that the claim is being paid out. Yeah. Of course, we also ensure that if it's a critical illness, it has to be in line with what the contract outlines in terms of the critical illness and what is covered. Yeah. So those sort of checks have to be done, and once it is submitted to our claims department, we try as best as possible to deliver within the turnaround time that we would have stipulated. And as I mentioned, depending on the type of plan that the person has, it may vary. So you have from 48 hours right up to as long as a claim can take in terms of going through medical, then they have to do some sort of investigation. All of that takes place. Yeah. So we try as best as possible to deliver within the SLA. Yeah.
Can I change my life insurance plan after I started it? And start with you, Tiffany. Do you know of such a scenario? I started my life insurance plan. I took it out for 20 million. I feel like I can't manage it 20. I might need, I can only pay for 10. Yeah. Is there any change that can be done after you guys stamp and sign and say, here you go?
If you do feel like you need to reduce the coverage that you have based on your financial situation, things happen, then you are able to reduce it. Okay. I just usually urge clients to not make permanent decisions based on temporary situations.
Deep. She got deep a while ago. That's her sales voice right there.
No, but it's true because the thing is that you don't know what your health status is right now. So if you were taking out a plan 5 years ago when you were fit and healthy and everything was good to go at your medical, and then because something happens, you make this rash decision to reduce the coverage, and then 6 months later, you get back a job, for example, you're in a better situation, you want back the coverage, but one, you'd be older, so the premium would be higher. And two, you don't know what your health status is like. What if now your blood pressure is high or you're pre-diabetic or something, or you've gained some weight? There's so many things that can increase your premium. So, you know.
I can tell a real story. I have a client, good friend of mine, when I went and wrote her, I noticed she has a history in her family of cancer, breast cancer, practically all the females.
Oh.
And of course, she told me originally she don't want a critical illness. When I say hello, it would be irresponsible of me to not pressure you to take out this plan.
Illness, yeah.
All right, you take it. About 2 years later, she called me, I need to meet with you. I keep in the life insurance, I keep in the investment. I don't want a critical illness plan because I get checked constantly. Because of my family issue, I'm constantly getting checked. So I'm good. And I tell her, and I don't want to lose the work for this, I tell her, if you want to close that plan, you're going to have to take yourself up to Sagicor and close it. Because I am not going to help you to close that plan and I know what your family history is like. So you might vex with me and write out the friendship, but I ain't going to do it. About a year from that, she called me. Otis, what happened when them said them find a little lump in your breast again? It was a mega I told you so moment, but I never rub it in. But this is exactly what you need to think about. As you mentioned, Tiffany, I can't say it as well as you say it. Say it again.
Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary circumstances.
No,
Otis, I may even add to that to say it's better to have the insurance and not need it.
Oh, absolutely.
Than need it and not have it. That sums it up.
And I can safely say that the return on investment on critical illness insurance compares to nothing. Like, based on what you're putting in versus what you're getting back, there's nothing else that can do that within a certain timeline. Like that.
I want you to speak to that legacy building, that income for generational wealth that it can create. But before we get there, I want to jump to questions. We have a question from Mrs. Stephanie Parks. What about usage insurance? Get insured as you go. Oh, wow. That's a semi-new insurance in our space. I know that we have it in respect to general insurance. But for life insurance, is that more comparable like a term type of program?
I don't think it would necessarily be a term. So I believe the person might be talking about if they are traveling overseas, for example, or like athletes. So those sort of persons who need those special insurance, they would have to get that. That is done through more like brokerages, but we don't offer that type of insurance right now. We offer more permanent insurance in that regards. But we wouldn't facilitate insurance of that nature.
Like travel insurance.
Travel insurance and those sort of insurance. That's what I think the person might be referring to.
All right, I hear somebody asking, is there affordable or more affordable, because all our insurance is affordable. It just depends on what your cost is or what your income level is.
Budget, right.
But is there special types of affordable insurance for what you'd call the lower income market?
Well, we do cater for all markets in terms of lower income, middle income. We do have plans that would facilitate those persons. So I believe Tiffy can maybe speak to, like, for example, our Protector series that we have.
That's what
Protector series actually would cater for persons who maybe
designed
for the lower income persons, and also as it relates to your budget. We can price products in terms based on your budget. So if you have $2,000 to spend, we can look at your portfolio and say, this person can get maybe $500,000 worth of coverage or whatever it is, dependent on what you work with. And that is why fact-finding is very important, which is what Tiffy pointed out earlier, to say once that proper fact-finding is completed, then the client should be okay and he wouldn't overspend or go beyond what the client can afford.
And I can say for sure, Tiffany sells plans up to, well, not up to, but as much as or even more than 100 million, 50 million. But I guarantee you, if all you can afford is a 500,000 plan, if the worst should happen, your family will thank God that you took out that 500,000 plan.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the Protector series, and there's at least one element of the Protector series that offers a basket of coverages. It offers life and critical illness and savings, the whole thing in one. Yeah. I'm saying that as segue because We have a basket to give away. So in a couple of minutes, I will be giving you the question that will allow you to win the basket. But let me get back to the question that I was throwing to Tiffany just now. Legacy. How does life insurance allow you to create and have a legacy to hand down, financial legacy to hand down to your family?
Where's the start? I know we speak a lot about generational wealth, and it's something as I've spoken about. I also speak about the difference between generational wealth versus generational debt. Because depending on how you set up your children, you it can go either way. In terms of generational wealth, you're looking at asset acquisition. So purchasing property that you can pass down throughout the generations, as well as setting up your kids, like even something as simple as taking out life insurance so that you're able to allow them the opportunity to afford higher education without having to take out loans. Because all you do when you take out a loan is you put that child's kind of put back, because that money that they could be saving in the future has to go back to paying off that loan, right? And education is important.
And if we
so
ever
even
start
things
about student loan, is a whole series.
exactly. So even things as simple as just making sure that you have enough life insurance that, God forbid, something happens to you, your children can still go to school and not have to finance that, as well as it would put them in a position to be able to even afford property earlier in life, and they can also pass that on for generations.
I need to come back to that because I love what I'm hearing. But a couple of persons are asking to give some context to the cost, premium versus coverage. So, for instance, off the top of your head, don't hold her to task. Don't, tell them, say Tiffany didn't say. But generally, off the top of your head, I know you don't have your calculators with you. 25-year-old, they need, let's say a property that they like, value $15 million. And they want to buy it, but of course they need the life insurance as the indemnity for that mortgage. Male, no illnesses, jog wholly, walk sometime, good. Give me a ballpark, what that might cost you. Shellon,
that might be difficult to do.
That's what I'm thinking. I kind of have a figure in my head. No, I think
versus $80,000 a month.
25-year-old.
25-year-old, yeah.
4,000, 5,000.
Possibly maybe about $4,000 or $5,000.
$4,000, thereabouts.
You
25 million for 25 million. How much
so.
what's the coverage amount?
15 million.
15 million. Or even less than, maybe less than that.
That might be a little difficult to really
Maybe
to really calculate now.
That's why I put you on the spot. That's why I bring the professional.
Maybe 4,000.
What type of plan they're applying for that may impact it as well.
I like how you're smart,
in terms of the plan. In terms of the plan.
Whole life, we're not talking about term.
So it comes down.
Exactly.
So it comes down to the plan. It comes down to what they want to put as investment. If it's a whole life plan, then the amount that they want to put as investment to supplement what they're paying as premium, that may impact the price as well. Cost.
And also riders.
And the riders that they put on those plans. So if they want additional riders, that will come at an additional cost.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to just have to come back down to what Tiffy is saying. She'll sit with that person.
Probably calculated.
I'm hearing, I'm going to throw it out. I'm hearing that and that 10 grand can give him a policy.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Just
Definitely.
because I know.
And I think that's a major issue. I get a lot of messages from people sometimes being like, I wish I could get life insurance, but I can't afford it. Because they always think that it has to be, like you said, $50,000 a month that they're paying, and that's not the case.
We have insurance to suit every pocket possible.
Yep.
All right. We know we have heard quite a bit of ill news about financial institutions, and everybody now want to be able to monitor everything that they do financially themselves. Yeah. Them no want nobody send them no email. Is there a facility? What is our facility to allow persons to manage and monitor their financial?
Well, we have two facilities mostly. We have the client web. And I'd like to introduce everyone to the client web. Go online and sign up with the client web immediately. It gives you access to your portfolio in terms of your policies. You can see monies that are on your policy in terms of amounts that can be encashed. It gives you amount in terms of insurance that is there, your pay to date, which is when the next premium is due. So you have all of that option on client web as well.
Yes.
You can also access your contract, your e-contract. I like to slip that in there. Your e-contract is also accessed via client web. So you can go on and view your contracts electronically once you have signed up for electronic contract. You can also do encashments up to $100,000 on client web without having to come into our offices.
Yep.
So
So you can get money off your policy without actually coming into
actually
the
coming in,
office.
correct.
Okay.
So you can get up to 100,000 on the client web platform. There's a new platform that we have introduced recently, and it is the eConnect system that we...
People, this is new to me too. So yeah,
Right, so it's eConnect where you can go on and you can also do encashments above $100,000 on our eConnect platform, and you basically are interacting with somebody live via eConnect, so you don't have to join the long lines. You basically skip the line, and you are going online now to have that interaction just as you would do when you walk into one of our branch halls or client services hall at head office. And you do an appointment. Once you do the appointment, you get the appointment, you go online, you meet with the person, do the general services that you normally do, and you can encash above 100,000 via the eConnect platform as well.
All right.
And you can get a status letter.
And
on
status
client
letter,
web.
that's
Client
correct.
web as well.
Client web, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of persons will need status letters, whether it is because their mortgager might ask for it, whatever the reason. Sometimes you're doing a loan and the loan institution realize that you have a payment that goes to Sagicor and they want to know what is that all about. So you get a status letter to say, hello, I got my money, I got my insurance, I'm a good smarty to do financial stuff with. So that makes a lot of sense. There's a question here. Can I borrow against my life insurance payout? And this is from @gmc.74. Do you know of that structure? I know it's an international, it's a North American and international structure, but in Jamaica, do we have that facility?
No, we don't have that facility where you can borrow against your insurance. That was something that would have been in the past. We had policies that would have allowed you to do loans on your policies, but we no longer facilitate anything of that nature.
That's so like when you just start work at Sagicor.
That predates me. Actually predates me.
But what? Oh my gosh.
But that predates me. But no, we don't have that facility where you can take loans against your policies in terms of your coverage amount. No, we don't facilitate that.
But what can be facilitated, though, is that your policy has a cash surrender value.
Right.
And if an institution wants to take on a loan, they can use that as collateral.
That can be taken into consideration when they're making their decision as well. The surrender value as well as the values that you'd have accrued on the policy over time since you'd have been paying on that policy.
Definitely. And of course, just going to slip it in there that Sagicor is affiliated to Sagicor Bank. So if you want a financial loan facility, we can direct you over there. All right. One of the hard ones. I have my policy for the last 10 years. I lose my job, and I get a message that because I never pay my bill last month, my policy going to lapse. What's that all about? What happens when I don't pay my policy?
So pretty much when you take out an insurance policy, it's a formal contract between the insurance company and the policy owner that you will pay your policy and pay your policy on time. Now, if you negate on that agreement, then the policy will go out of force, or it will go into a state that basically is a lapsed status. So pretty much you are out of coverage once that policy goes into a lapse status. However, we do facilitate reinstatement. So once you are in a specific period, depending on the type of plan, you have the option to do a reinstatement. And so we would reinstate the policy, put it back in force, and then you begin your coverage. Most times your coverage starts over in terms of your waiting period starts over. And so you would get back your coverage, starting like you would be taking out a new policy, in a sense.
Okay, I get you. And Tiffany, what would be your advice to a person who you lose your job and you don't know what will happen to your policy? What do I do to, have the best result?
So it's a little different for me and my clients, because I make sure that when I recommend products to my clients, I also work with their budget and ensure they have an emergency fund. That's why you have an emergency fund in place.
This is financial planning regarding not just
Right?
insure, financial
Okay. Because I've had it happen since I've been at Sagicor, especially with the pandemic. A lot of people got pay cuts. A lot of people were let go from their job, and we had to put certain things in place. That's also why I urge clients to contribute to the investment portion on the life insurance.
Yes.
Because that also really comes in handy when that happens, because at least you have that money that's there that can help to pay up some months of premium, hopefully,
definitely.
in the interim.
So I want to also add, Otis, that if it is that you find that you're in a difficulty, we have various channels you may use to reach out to get some assistance. So we have our advisor. If you have your advisor, it's always good to reach out to your advisor, to have that conversation with your advisor. Tiffy made mention of it. If you need to do a reduction or whatever needs to happen, have that conversation with the advisor as well. You need to reach out to Sagicor. There's a group client support department, which is our contact center. It used to be named our contact center, where you can reach out to us as well to also have a conversation with us if you need to do that. There's also the eConnect. If you need to reach out to somebody as well, you don't want to join the line, you can use eConnect as well to reach out to somebody to have that conversation to see how you can keep your policy on the books.
It's best to have the conversation. Don't sit down and wait until
the policy
The
lasts.
second you realize you have a problem, talk to us.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
We are completely out of time. I need to give away the basket. I see a couple of persons asking questions. It will be for the next episode, so stay tuned. I'm going to ask you an easy question that as long as your Wi-Fi up or your data service strong, you can find it. Name the head office for Sagicor Life Jamaica. That's it. Just put it in the chat, put it, and the first one, give me the right answer, you'll be winning. So any last comment from my panelist in regard to why it is that you should have insurance? Firstly, Sheldon.
Wow. Consider your family. Consider those who would be impacted, most impacted, and get covered.
Definitely.
That's
definitely.
I agree with what Sheldon said. No, think about the people who are dependent on you. Think about how the fact that you want them to be able to maintain their current lifestyle should something happen to you. And think about yourself, because when it comes to living benefits, you also are benefiting from that.
Definitely. Definitely. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, of course, to my pari at Advantage General. We're going to be bringing her back next episode, but we definitely have a lot more to discuss. And thank you for being here. And thanks to everybody online. We wouldn't do it without you. So stay tuned. Next episode right here. More information. We're going to go a little deeper with your financial planning too, because we're making sure that your life just sort out right here at Sagicor Life. And of course, Advantage General. Drive safe. See you next episode.